Hey guys, and welcome to your lessons on primary and secondary sources under the Sources tab of the Ancient China Teaching and Learning website resource. Make sure you go ahead and check out the description of this video to access the link to this particular tab of the website. Today in this video, we're going to be going over Lesson 1, Introduction to Sources. So it's really important in your understanding of history and your early understanding of history in high school that you'll get your head around primary and secondary sources. So your success criteria for this lesson. So by the end of this lesson, you need to know source work in history, and you need to be able to explain the difference between a primary and a secondary source. So what are historical sources, you're probably thinking to yourself. So it's a good idea if you write these notes down in your book as well while I'm speaking. You can pause the video as well at any point too. So a source is something that has been created and can be used to gather information about the past. There are many different types of sources which are categorized into two areas. So these are called primary sources and secondary sources. So these are some examples of some sources, and I want you guys to write down 3 of these. So the source can be things like objects, diary entries, statistics, newspapers, photographs, posters, novels, films, and letters. So let's have a look at what a primary source is. So primary sources are sources that have existed or were made during the period of study. They are first-hand accounts of the past. I want you to write down 2 examples from the list below. So examples of primary sources can include letters, newspaper articles, photographs, inscriptions, and artifacts such as weapons, tools, coins, and jewelry, because these things were made during the time of the study and they have a first-hand account or recollection of the past. And they're quite different to secondary sources, so let's compare them to secondary sources. So secondary sources are interpretations of a time period that are created after the time of study. They are attempts to reconstruct the past. So write down 2 of these examples below. So secondary sources are things that are made after the time of study, and they're things like textbooks, reference books, or documentaries. We can see here in the examples even a movie like 1917 is a secondary source because it is an attempt to reconstruct the past, and it does have some factual information in it, even though it is a work of fiction as well. So let's do a quick summary of our knowledge so far. So a primary source, they are things that are made during the time of study, and they are first-hand accounts of the past. Secondary sources are things that are made after the time of study. They are reconstructions of the past. And in this case, for ancient China, we're studying the time period between 1766 BCE to 1911 CE, 1911 Common Era. So when I went to Los Angeles, I went to the National History Museum in California, and I saw a really good opportunity to put a lesson together or an activity together on some primary and secondary sources. So using your knowledge we've covered in the lesson so far, let's see if you can get whether these are primary or secondary sources. So the first source is the largest existing Nautilus fossil. Now this is a primary source because it is real and it was made during the time of study. Now let's keyword here, replica dinosaur skeleton. So a guy from the museum told me that it's if it's behind a glass case, it's real, but if it's not behind a glass case, it's a replica. So this is a secondary source because it's a replica, it's a reconstruction of real dinosaur bones. Tiny statues made by Native Americans during the 1500s. These are primary sources because they were made during the time of study. They were made during the 1500s, and they're first-hand accounts of the past. They were made by people in the past, so these are primary sources. Replicas of human skulls found to show the progress of human evolution over thousands of years. Again, keyword here is replicas, so that tells me this is a secondary source. It's a reconstruction of the past. Triceratops skulls from 65 million BCE. So these are behind a glass case, and that means they are primary sources. They are from the past, they're from 65 million years ago, so these are indeed primary sources. A replica whale skeleton, again, secondary source because it's a replica. A model of a polar bear. So this is a secondary source because it's a model. It's not a real polar bear, it's a fake, so it's a secondary source. A paleontologist excavating a fossil of a dinosaur claw. So the dinosaur claw is a primary source because it is back from the time of the dinosaurs. So it's a primary source. So moving on. your activities for this lesson. So there's 2 activities for this lesson. Task 1, you've got to complete this worksheet here. If you're learning along at home, you can open up the tab like so, and then you can print the worksheet. So a primary source is and a secondary source is. Again, you can use the answers from the above information to find the answers for those. And then what you need to do in the next part is in each box put a P if you think the source is primary, or put an S if you think the source is secondary. So we can do these together now too. So ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, these are primary sources because they were made by ancient Egyptians during ancient Egypt. So these are primary sources. Next one, replica pieces of a knight's armor. So these weren't made during the Middle Ages, they're replicas, so they're secondary sources. So I'd write an S there. We've got a Roman coin. Again, I'd put a primary source here because this is a coin from Rome. So we need to go ahead and put a P in there for a primary source because it was made during the Roman Empire. A Russian soldier's helmet from World War II. So this is a primary source because it is from World War II. A painting of William III before he went into battle. Now, even though this is a painting, and of course it was made probably slightly after the battle, maybe even weeks or months after the battle, it is a primary source because it is a first-hand account of the past. And then a drawing of 1940s downtown Los Angeles. Again, this is a first-hand account of the past. So your next activity is your Education Perfect, and it's a task called Primary and Secondary Sources. And this will be needed completed for homework if it's not finished this lesson. And then lastly, if you click on this picture here, you can play a Kahoot with your class and practice your knowledge on source work. So thanks for watching, guys. And remember, if you like these videos and these websites and you want to stay updated to any new lessons that are made in existing websites like this one, or you want to stay updated to any new websites that I make, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.